After last night's statement from City, what is due to happen at the club today?
Well, the first thing to say is that training is over. It started around 11 o'clock this morning. We saw Roberto Mancini arrive around about 10:30 this morning. Not like most Premier League managers coming in a limousine or a car. He takes the bike, he takes his cycling very seriously and cycles from his home down here to Carrington and whiz past the cameras, I think, into Carrington to do that training alongside those players, I think, who've been rattled by what's happened with Carlos Tevez. Remember, their former captain, the man who lifted the FA Cup, Manchester City's first trophy in 35 years, back in May. I think he's brought them all together here, finished training, and I think it's more than likely he's having those discussions with the club's owners right now. There's no indication he's going to talk to Sheikh Mansour directly about Carlos Tevez, but I think there certainly is a conversation going to be held between him and Khaldoon Al-Mubarak, who is the chairman, of course, here at Manchester City. And I think the way that Sheikh Mansour works, he delegates towards people within his organisation, and I think Khaldoon will then report back to Sheikh Mansour about what's been said, not only by Roberto Mancini, but also other members of the board and also other players who were involved in what happened on Tuesday night. Remember, this was a Champions League game where everything seemed to be going wrong for Manchester City. They lost the game. Edin Dzeko threw his toys. Pablo Zabaleta was caught in the crossfire, and it resulted in Carlos Tevez not wanting to come on as a second-half substitute. So plenty of matters to sort out. I think in suspending Carlos Tevez for 2 weeks, Manchester City have given themselves time to sort things out. And I think today, really, it will just be a conversation between Khaldoon and Roberto Mancini about what happened and what the manager thinks should happen in terms of the way forward. They've had a break. David Platt talked famously on Tuesday night about letting things just calm down a little bit. Well, that has had time to calm down. They were off yesterday, and I think having taken care of training ahead of Blackburn on Saturday, Roberto Mancini will now be asked by the owners to explain his side of the story regarding this whole Carlos Tevez debacle.
Now, James, the Manchester City fans have had to deal with the Carlos Tevez stories for quite some time now. I wonder, what do they make of this latest turn of events?
I think if you ask them, they're simply fed up with it. I think, you know, you look in the calendar here, you've had two opportunities for Carlos Tevez to pledge his allegiance to Manchester City. Well, on two occasions, he's put in transfer requests and said he doesn't want to play for Manchester City. This, perhaps the third thing, is the straw that broke the camel's back as far as the fans are concerned with Carlos Tevez. They've seen a player who, for whatever reason, hasn't come on as a second-half substitute when Manchester City needed him most. I think if you also ask the subsequent question to most Manchester City fans, who do you back? Do you back Roberto Mancini or do you back Carlos Tevez? They'll come down on Roberto Mancini's side all the time. But I think what all of them want is this sorted out properly. They don't want any more question marks left over the last couple of weeks. When this investigation finishes, they want to know where they stand, both with Roberto Mancini and Carlos Tevez. But as I say, the flavour down, certainly at the stadium this morning, was that, you know, Carlos Tevez is in the wrong and that Manchester City fans back Roberto Mancini pretty much to a man.